Welcome to the Winning with Worldviews. Maybe you're here to learn about worldviews. Maybe you want to win with worldviews. Maybe you want some mindset mastery, worldview mastery, life mastery. So glad you're here, man. This is super important. It's foundational stuff, and I'm also going to make this super practical, because if you're not learning things to apply to your life and to love your neighbor and to help other people and yourself, what are you doing? So hey, listen, I'm glad you're here. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a round of applause. Stand up. Let's get moving and focus on this winning with worldviews. It's a real thing. The world is shrinking. The population is getting to know each other all over the planet. And so I want to give you a list of things that you need to know right off the bat. Number one is everyone has a lens or a worldview. So it doesn't matter. It's irrespective of your gender, your race, your religion. You're going to see that all religions subsume or come into the categories of the major worldviews of life. Worldviews are bigger than religions, and all religions get into or fit into or fall underneath certain worldviews. So regardless of gender, race, how many kids you have, where you're from, what you look like, what you talk like, you got a worldview. Everybody say everyone has a worldview. So this is going to apply to everyone that you ever meet and everyone that you look in the mirror to, everyone you come eyeball to eyeball with. And the reason why I say it's a lens is because we don't see, and this would be a foundational idea in this training, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And the people that disagree with that are within their own particular mindset and worldview as well. But now you know why they're saying what they say. We don't see things as they are 100% objectively, even if you believe in objective truth. And there is objective truth. We just see things in part. We see things as we are. How, you see a car crash, a car accident. I hope you don't see one today, but if you do, 7 people might see it. They see it and report it 7 different ways, slightly different ways to the authorities than you did, right? Or you're watching an NFL game, National Football League game, or maybe soccer, your sport, or whatever your sport is, and the ref makes a really bad, I got an itch in my eye, man. Woo-wee! Man, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. I got an itch in my eye. I'm seeing one-eyed today. I'm like Cyclops. I mean, that's how it is, though, right? But we think we got it all mastered. Listen, if you're at a game and the ref makes a really bonehead call to you, your fans are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they would ever do such a thing. That's the worst ref in the world. Get that ref off the field. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday where an entire row in a high school girls basketball game, the entire bleachers on one side walked out of the game because the ref was making boneheaded calls in their mind, but this side of the stadium did not. This side of the gymnasium stayed. Why? Because maybe they thought they were boneheaded or not. I don't know. But they see what they want to see, and you find what you're looking for, and we see as we are, not as it is. So we have biases, we have assumptions, we have a subconscious, we have a conscious, we got all these things going on inside of us that we need to be aware of, which calls for an enormous amount of empathy and kindness and humility. My mentor once said, Aaron, you got to get 3 virtues right, and you got to get them in order, and if you get them in order, you'll be okay, but if you mess them up, you will never find your way in this world. Number 3 is humility. Number 2 is humility. Number 1 is humility. If you get all those 3 and you get them in order, you're in good shape in life. So listen, everybody's got a lens. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody's got a worldview. Think of it as a metaphor, as lens. You go, right? You go. Your attention goes to where you look. Your attention goes to where you look, and your worldview has already predetermined in many cases. And the more you've habituated yourself to take on a worldview, you automatically look in certain ways and think in certain modalities. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the lens that you see with and feel with, and your intuition is part of that, carries certain categories. So if there's only so many worldviews, and I haven't named what those are yet, there's only so many big worldviews. There's also categories within each worldview. They're the same categories in every worldview. And there's only so many categories within those worldviews. So Think in terms of like, let's say there's 7 or 8 major worldviews, which I'll share with you. And then under each of those, it's the same categories within the worldview. So categories like history, death, ethics, God, meaning, etc. And so within those, the worldviews think of the categories and see through those categories in different ways, even if they're in the same worldview, right? Like I'm a Christian, so I am a Christian theist. Christian theism is one worldview. I will see the world even differently than other Christians in those categories. Like in terms of death, I believe it's the next thing you know, you're alive again. Some may think that you sleep for a long time, but that's okay. There's room for interpretation. And I think of God in one way as my readings go, and other people in my faith think of God in another way, and that's okay. So even within the same worldview and religion under it, the categories, we can have varying rooms of interpretation. So there's different categories like history. Different worldviews will disagree to a significant degree on some worldviews say, hey, history is cyclical and we're in a cycle of reincarnation until we're all Atman is Brahman, which I'll explain later. Or some believe that we have history moving in one direction. We're moving forward. Others say it's meaningless. We're zigzagging and it doesn't really matter, right? So that's a really big deal. Others view God differently. Some view God as a judge who's mad and stern and out to get us. Others, like me, believe that God is for us and cares and loves us. Others think that God is impersonal. Different worldviews think different things. Or ethics. I have a set of ethics and it's based on love, right? So my faith says, my leader summarized all the commandments, all the ethics into love one another as I have loved you. And other people have different sets of ethics, but everyone has a set of ethics, even if it's no ethics. But everybody does. Everybody's got this oughtness, this moral imperative inside of them. Even cannibals, they have their own boundaries and ethics in their crazy, I would call it crazy, and disagree strongly with what they do, right? And so everybody's got subcategories within their worldview, and I'll tell you what those categories, I'll just name some of them, but we'll get more formal as we go along. But we're going to still have fun! Number 3 is your lens is shaped by your environment, right? Environment is still underplayed and never hardly talked about. Post-modernity would call it situatedness. Everybody's situated, meaning you have a skin color. I'm white, I'm male, so some people think I get lucky or easy breaks. Other people say he's African American or she's Latino, so they're getting the breaks these days, and they're speaking from their situatedness about other people's situatedness or their environment. So your lens is shaped by your family background. Did you have a dad, a father? I always listen to how people talk about their male patriarch in the house. Do they call him father? Do they call him dad? Do they call him daddy? There's some real tip-offs there about how their worldview was shaped. Was there a father in the home? Did their parents divorce? Did they stay together? That makes a difference in how the worldview was shaped. So family, religious. Were you raised a Christian? Were you raised a Buddhist? Were you raised an atheist? What were you raised as? Number 3, in terms of environments, what country are you from? Were you from a free country? Did you have a dictator? What about your friends? Did you hang out with the wrong crowd? Did you hang out with a good crowd? You become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with because the mirror neurons in your brain start to adopt and adapt their value systems, their belief systems, their behaviors. So that's a real thing, man. Your environments, your friends shaped you, whether you thought so at the moment or not. Your feelings shaped you. Were you rocked by mama? Did you have a good emotional upbringing, or were you abused? Right? That shapes you. And let's just pause for a second to say, hey, I give you empathy if you went through that. I don't understand it. I don't pretend to understand it. But just showing up today, hey, you're making it. You're making progress. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do in a day is get out of bed and keep showing up. So I applaud you, and I'm sorry that you went through that. So your feelings. Economics. Were you born in the inner city and you were trapped by systems? Or were you born with a gold spoon in your mouth? I'm not going to hate on either. It's just what it is. Your race. Were you born white? Were you born black? Were you born brown? Were you born green? Were you born red? What were you born as? And did you carry it as a burden, as a badge of honor? Did you even know? right? Were you pulled over by cops because of your skin color? Have you never been pulled over? Because you just were a skin color, more than likely, okay? So listen, your lens is shaped, your worldview is shaped by your environments or your situatedness. If you want to be more educational and formal, call it situatedness. Also, most people, when it comes to worldviews, are this. So I've talked about one is everyone has one. Two, the lens contains subcategories or categories like ethics and death and meaning and all that. Three is it's shaped by your environment or your situatedness, right? And the fourth thing, or fifth, let's go fourth thing here. The fourth thing is, I'll just name the worldviews. Some of them include Christian theism, Buddhism, deism, Islamism or Islamic theism, nihilism, pantheism, did I already say that? Naturalism, atheism. So you see all they end with isms. If you get an ISM on the end of a word, it means whatever's on the front of that word is the centrality of your lens. So if I subscribe to Taco Tuesday-ism, Taco Tuesday! Hey, listen, I'm fired up about this because I love life. I love life. I hope you're fired up too. Taco Tuesday is... that becomes the centrality of which I view ethics and death and life. So if I don't get my tacos on Tuesday, my ethics is, hey boy, we gotta go to Taco Tuesday. We gotta go somewhere to eat some tacos. My moral decisions are based on all of that. Get it? And when I die, I think I'm going to taco heaven, and I believe that God is a big taco. Whatever it is, right? Those subcategories are viewed, meaning of life is viewed through tacos. Whatever's on the front end. So theism, there's a God. Well, Christian theism is the Christian version, is the centrality of one's worldview. Same with Buddhism, Islamic theism. Nihil means no or nothing, or absurdity-ism. So life's absurdity. We'll talk about all those things, but that's what I want you to know in terms of breaking down the words. Some of you want to break dance. We're just breaking down the words right now. Listen, number 5, most people, when it comes to worldviews, they don't even know worldviews exist, but they're in a worldview. They're in the Matrix. Hey, if you haven't seen the Matrix, I think it was in 1999. We're all plugged into the system. We're all part of, bigger conspiracies and things. We're born into all these in different environments and situatedness, and people in power, they know it. And so you're a sheeple, right? And everybody, and even people call other people sheeple. They're sheeple. We're all part of it. We're in the Matrix. And most people, though, they don't even know worldviews exist, okay? Not you. You're going to know that they exist now. And 2, when they don't know that they exist, or even people who do know that they exist, they reinforce their own lens with the same thoughts, which lead to the same feelings, which lead to the same rituals. Listen, most people average between 70 and 90,000 thoughts per day, and 90%, I don't know where they come up with this data, but it's true, 90% plus of those thoughts are similar every single day. You wake up, on the right side of the bed, you think about the same job, you go to brush your teeth in the same way, you drink the same drink, drive down the same road. Similar thoughts, right? Similar feelings from your thoughts, because thoughts create feelings create actions and emotions, and that creates your results. So it's the same thing. And so we just reinforce, one way to put this is our worldviews. What we do is we habituate ourselves to inhabit worldviews. We habituate through habits, thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions. Those all go in like a train, get the results. So it becomes a habit. We habituate ourselves, and then we inhabit worldview. We don't even know what's going on. We reinforce it. Listen, most people don't even know they're doing that. And then some people, when I educate them, say, well, that's what I want to do. Okay, fine, whatever. But they don't even want to talk. I said, hey, we're all talking about worldviews here. Let's bring somebody in from another worldview instead of you bad-mouthing the worldviews. You don't even know somebody from that worldview. Let's bring somebody in and ask them. They said, over my dead body, I've been believing the way I believe for 55 years. I don't need to hear anybody else's worldview. And I'm like, and this is a leader in the organization called a church. Are you serious? They said, not in the church, we're not doing that. I'm like, well, then where you want to do it? I mean, what is this, a closed door mentality? Okay, so listen. We'll get into all that a little bit later, because maybe that's where you're at and you're so offended by Aaron here. Professor Bird, just little Aaron, small a, R-O-N. And listen, here's what you need to know. I'm an equal opportunity offender. So if you're laughing that I'm offending someone else right now, I'll eventually offend you somehow. I offend myself at least 89 times a day. But listen, most people, they don't even know they have one. Then they reinforce their worldview over and over and over again. And it creates a neurological network where they don't even know how to get out of it now, because their brains and neurons that fire together wire together. They're wired together up here, and they think they have a choice, but they've created their own determinism from their own free will, right? Based on their environments, based in the past, how their parents, well, now we're getting into psychology, right? Which is they all overlap. Don't be part of the matrix where everything's separate. Theology, psychology, it all overlaps. Of course, theology is the best because that's what I studied. No, just kidding. But listen, and when it comes to other people and other worldviews, this is what most people do. They're angry, they judge them, they demonize people before they even get to know them. Hello? What do you think they're doing to you? Angry with you, judging you, demonizing. How are we ever going to make progress if we do that? Well, we're just going to proselytize everybody. We don't need to understand anybody, their emotions, their upbringing, their parents, their wants, their desires. Hello, then they're never going to listen to you. If you don't care about them and their humanity and their heart, who cares what you got to say? That's what they're thinking. That's what I would think. So we create wars and bullies, and you're not going to be able to sell your products because you won't understand them. You don't understand the world. Listen, if you're watching this and you're in sales, you're going to need to know this. This is foundational stuff to get in their mind, to get in their heart, to understand how to best serve them, because that's what sales should be about. Not manipulation, but to care for the person, to meet their need with your product. And most people are losing because they will not have empathy. They will not understand them. And my question is, from my faith is, my faith says, love your neighbor as yourself. And if you're taking the time to reinforce your own worldviews and loving yourself that way, why don't you understand them? You won't even take the time to get to know them. This is what I tell people. Hello, you won't even take the time to get to know your literal neighbor because they have a scarf over their head, or they read the Torah, or they don't know what to believe. And so we just sit there, I look at their life decisions. I can't believe they do what they do. Are you serious? How is that loving your neighbor as yourself? It's not. And your faith, if you're part of the Christian faith, listen, it says to love one another as I have loved you. It doesn't say love people that are just like me, love people that look like you, think like you, were raised by you, go to the same organizations as you. But that's what we do. Why? Because people are plugged into the matrix, man. I don't know why I keep bringing up that reference, but it's probably pretty true. But listen, that's them. And this is us from now on, okay? Here's a rule that I have and that I apply to my own life and my staff's life, and maybe you want to use it too. I don't criticize any worldview or ideology until I know at least 5 people that hold to that belief. I got to know them personally. Number 2, that'll change your life, by the way. You're going to win with worldviews instead of lose like most people. They think they're winning because they're holding fast to theirs. Listen, you don't have to give up yours because you know other people and other worldviews. You're going to win. You're going to win in sales. You're going to win in love. You're going to win in empathy. You're going to win in learning and expanding. And you're always going to be a learner. I remember a guy was coming to my class, an undergrad class, and I couldn't wait for him to get there. He was like a legend. He was going to be a guest, and we were going to get to ask him questions. And he spoke for 55 minutes, and then they asked if we had any questions. I rose my little 19-year-old hand, and I said, yes, Mr. Burden. I said, if you could give us one piece of advice, maybe we'll never get to talk to you again, what would that be? He takes out his white handkerchief, starts crying, literally crying in front of class. I'm like, I must ask a good question. And he looks up and he said, always be a learner.